You're listening to WDKR at WDKR.org, internet-based radio serving Cherokee County, Alabama. This is the Matt and Todd Show with Big Matt and Diamond D.
Good morning, Cherokee County. Good morning, people across the world. How's everybody doing this Sunday evening? Looks like tonight, me and Diamond Dean here, we are going to be looking over LSU and Clemson review and NFL playoffs. So first, I think we'll, how's your week been, Todd? What's been going on?
I've been pretty good, been busy. Had a lot of basketball this week, helped coach middle school youth league. Also, we had a basketball game Monday. We won by 8. Wednesday, won at the buzzer. Okay. And Thursday, lost at the buzzer. And, it's just a heart attack waiting to happen coaching ball. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the youth league game went down to the wire. So 4 games, every one of them go down to the wire. Can't even get one of them where you can relax. And, of course, I'm just an assistant. Me and Brent Hutchins do the youth league. I'm just an assistant on the middle school. But you put in that much time, you care.
Right, sure, oh, absolutely.
And it's hard to sit through. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Well, I guess people across the county and the world that got to tune into the national championship game, maybe it was hard for them to sit in and watch their Clemson Tigers go down. But the LSU Tigers did prevail and win. They were picked by 5, looked like, in a lot of polls. What was your take on the game? Well, I'll let you head it off, Todd. Go ahead.
Well, of course, we come out Monday night, 5-point favorite for LSU, and started out, man, Clemson was on fire, especially defensively.
Yeah.
I think through the first quarter, LSU, they might have ended up with 100 by the end of the quarter, but, the first couple of drives just...
Yeah, his throws.
His throws were off.
Yeah.
They couldn't cover them. They couldn't get open.
I think Clemson was mixing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Venables was like he was setting one middle linebacker sometimes, and then he would back them out, and he would send the guy. His corners would play tight. Like they had a good game plan to start the game, but
Burrow had a ton of pressure on him, and then of course 7-0. Then it got to 10-7. He threw the long pass, 7-0 Clemson. Then 7-7. Burrow hit Chase on a deep route. Chase had a great game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
221 yards.
Yeah, he had a good night. That number 1 kid over there, I think I had posted earlier, he couldn't find himself off the sun with a flashlight.
Oh, he's a good kid. He's a good player, too.
He couldn't cover nothing over there. He was just getting burnt every play. The passes were on the money, and
he had a tough night. Well, then it was 10-7. Then T. Higgins ran the reverse, made it 17-7. Then LSU came back down, hit Chase again. And then they got another long drive. They went hurry up, drove all the way down the field, him throwing a Chase, Hilaire running it, Jefferson catching it. And they called the 4th down play, and Burrow ran the quarterback keeper.
What did you think about the little spin move Edwards did over there on the sideline, put his hand out of bounds?
Oh, yeah, he was out of bounds. That was on that drive.
Yeah.
That was on that drive. They just missed it. They were going so fast, they didn't have time to think, did he go out of bounds? So they just lined it back up.
I think I seen it. I noticed it as soon as it happened. I just feel if I noticed it, me just being who I am and the position I'm at in my life, that some of those coaches up there for Clemson will notice that, buzz down real quick.
Well, I thought it was close anyway, even from the TV.
And Dabo's head and say, hey, call a timeout, tell a player to fall down, something to make them stop, to make them look at it again. I don't know. It seems like I don't think that play lost them the game.
I don't think it did either.
It gave them some momentum during that period of the game with some good momentum. So,
well, then you got 21-17, and they get the ball back, drive right back down, 28-17 at the half. He throws a touchdown to Moss.
Now, coming out of the half, we knew LSU was going to get the ball back.
Right, and they didn't score. They didn't do much. It's the same stuff. They got sacks. They put the pressure on them.
They went 3 and out. Clemson got the ball back, and I thought, well, this is going to be a good advantage here for Clemson to go back down the field and score and get right back in this game. And they just...
Well, they did actually, made it 28-25. Then they drove down, and when they got that targeting call on Skalski,
the
inside linebacker, who put a ton of pressure, which LSU had already drove down. But after that, they just seemed deflated.
After the halftime, they stopped them. and they was going to get back in it. They scored again. I thought, well, this will be good, but you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like after halftime, they just adjusted, and LSU did. They may even adjusted before the half.
Well, adjustments. LSU ended up with 631 yards.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And Trevor Lawrence threw for 58 in the second half. And after the last touchdown to Moss, which was right after Skowski had the head-to-head.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. That made it 35-25, and then it went to 42-25. And Clemson actually, in my mind, scored another touchdown. That was a terrible call on the pass interference by Higgins. They called offensive pass interference. The guy just fell down.
Yeah. He looked like he slung him, but they had already lost contact with each other.
Yeah.
And then he kind of falls, looking like it was a bad call. And that's what I was talking about in the last show. With Lou Holtz and things he talked about, how players, make plays, but sometimes teams get lucky. And Todd, we all know that luck plays a part.
Oh, yeah.
It has to, because these teams are very close.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the way, somebody's going to have to get a break. And Clemson did not get the breaks. They did with Bama. They did get the breaks, when they beat us. So it works out that way.
Well, and LSU goes 15-0, not stopped all year, and after that interference play, that was it. I mean, that would have made it 42-32. It would have still been hard for them to win, but they were still kind of in it. But after that,
they just didn't really have an answer for number one for Clemson. He just didn't. He couldn't cover.
Couldn't cover Chase. Chase, All-American, and he showed why.
Yeah.
But to see the game before, he caught 2 passes for 60 yards, and this one he catches 9 for 220, and actually dropped the touchdown.
Well, it shows how many weapons that LSU really has. How many guys are they going to have go out first round?
No, I mean
they got a lot of talent.
And now they go down as one of the top 3. I was looking at something that one of the top 3 offenses of all time, Nebraska 95. It's obviously one of them. This bunch, and USC 2004 averaged 580 yards a game, but they did not win it. 2005, excuse me. Texas won the national championship. So as far as national championship goes, this bunch, LSU and Nebraska of 95, are the 2 most potent offenses.
Yeah, who was quarterback in Nebraska then? Was that
Frazier?
That was Frazier's year. Yeah,
Frazier.
I wasn't real crazy.
Well, they were a running attack.
Yeah.
But, 569 yards a game. Burrow, 5,700 yards passing. 60 touchdowns.
Yeah, 65 total touchdowns and almost 6,000 yards passing. That's a large number.
And he rushed for 300 yards. So
by the end of the game, you could tell that they were better that night. Mm-hmm. And a little more on the game. What did you think about Trevor Lawrence's?
I thought he had a bad second half.
It reminded me of the game me and you went to watch him play.
Mm-hmm. A lot of overthrowing.
Yeah. It's like he just didn't have a timing with the receivers, but at that title game that we watched them play in Atlanta, they had an awesome running back.
Which didn't make a difference.
Because their running back was a stud and their defense was like the best in the state. The other team just couldn't score.
Right. So he didn't have to do. Which he was a lot of big reason they were there.
Yeah.
But, and, he, like I said, he threw for 58 yards. Thought he had a great first half. They finished with less than 400 yards, and there was a point in that game where they had 260 with 10 minutes left in the first half. And they finished with less than 400. And LSU finished with 631, which was more than they gained against Alabama, Florida, Auburn.
Yeah, I remember we went through
They
that.
actually did better in this game than they did in any of them, except for Ole Miss and Oklahoma.
I thought Clemson's defense would have been better that night. That's why I picked them to win. I figured they could slow him down enough and their corners could cover. LSU's receivers are good, but most definitely, I think I had stated in the last show that LSU had the number 1 defense, so I needed to adjust that. Clemson was number 1 defense coming in, is what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
That defense could slow them down some. And the LSU's defense was not the best in the world. They showed up when they needed to at times during the season, but looks like, when the title's on the line and it's time to get fitted for a ring with Joe size 10.5, they showed up and played. And I thought the game plan was okay, but it seemed like I looked through some
stats. A lot of
pressure,
and it seemed to be working early.
Stats early were their third down conversion was like 4 for 14 or something, or on
Clemson's.
third down. Yeah,
Yeah, that's bad.
that's really bad. It seemed like he was overthrowing on third down like every time. I noticed early he was like, they were like 1 for 8 at one time during the game on third downs. And I'm thinking,
well, you're having to punt it.
Yes, there's no way you cannot just go 3 and out when you're down kind of 10 or 14.
Well, I felt like they were in a great position. They had LSU, and LSU cannot run an offense from their own 5. They showed that, but once they got out to the 20, 25, which nobody can from their own 5-yard line, but they got out, when they got out to where you're supposed to be, I mean, it was just hammer time for LSU. I mean,
and Clyde Edwards had a good game.
Oh, he did. And when he decided he's going on pro.
I did read that.
So they lose him, they lose Burrow, they lose their defensive coordinator, and they lose Joe Brady.
Yes, they're losing everybody. He's going to Baylor, and
so they'll have Chase back.
Everlair, he's going. Where was he going? I don't even remember.
One of them's going to Baylor, and one's going to the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina.
Aranda's going to.
Aranda's going to Carolina. To Carolina. Joe Brady. Joe's going to call offense.
For the Panthers.
Yes.
That's right.
Right.
Aranda's going to Baylor.
He's going back. He's going to another college.
So now you're back. I mean, they're always going to have a good program, but
they got a lot of recruits.
This what we saw this year. We might not ever see this again.
Well, this is what I call, and I post this sometimes whenever I see these coaches leaving. I call it the Bama effect, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
When you see teams have these great runs, and then somebody comes and snatches your coaches away from you.
Every one of them.
And you see how that turns out. The next year, Bama just blitzed by Clemson that year.
And then didn't go this year.
Yeah.
With the coaching turnover.
Yeah, it didn't help. Players injured, of course, didn't help that either. So, sadly, it is the end of the college football season. And I don't know what I'm going to do, Todd.
Well, I think we found the best team. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I would have liked to have seen an LSU-Ohio State matchup. Somehow I feel that they're the second best team in the country, not taking nothing away from Clemson.
By the way the game was played, I can see what you're saying.
LSU-Ohio State.
By the way the game was played and by how LSU just seemed to dominate Clemson for pretty much 3/4 of the game,
They
I guess,
did,
through
for
3.
3/4, yeah.
It would have been interesting to see a healthy Justin Fields and Dobbins. No ankle, no knee for Fields.
Right.
Both healthy, meet up. Yeah, that'd be interesting. And honestly, Todd, with the recruits we've been over through, the shows that we've been doing lately, we know what kids are going where. We know the quarterbacks are coming to Clemson, and the other 5-star players, 5 other 5-star players with that quarterback. Ohio State's going to reload and be back. They're not losing very many on defense, I read.
No,
so
get Fields back.
Yeah. So we may see them play.
I would think it would be Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. I do not think LSU will be in the mix next year. I think they'll be good.
Yeah, I don't see
but
them.
I don't see them being in the mix. I mean, obviously, Joe Brady brought a certain amount of
Did you know that he was at
greatness to this team?
He was at a okay, I'm trying to get this story right. I read this. He was at a small school somewhere and winds up being his daddy was friends with somebody somehow at the Saints. He goes in and just pretty much tells Peyton, I'll do whatever. Go get you coffee. Go run paper copies.
Right.
So it shows a lot for
Laundry.
him. Yeah, wash his socks. Go get him a dip cup. To come into that program there in New Orleans, a professional football team, be just a gopher, and soak all that in.
He did, obviously.
Yes.
Soaked it all in.
He's 29.
I think he just turned 30.
That's amazing. So just to hear that story is when you start hearing the backgrounds that we don't get to hear a lot, and when teams win the title, they always dig a little deeper and the reporters go find stuff out. I thought that was pretty interesting. For him to be a 28-year-old at the time, learn this stuff and just jump right out.
Well, and like
Here
you
he
said,
is 30, Todd, and he's got a national championship ring. He's 30.
And he was assistant coach of the year. And now, tell me if I'm right on this. He installed the passing offense, but now Ensminger calls the offense.
Yes.
He calls the plays when he wants to call them and what. But
Well,
as far as the designer of the passing plays, that was Brady.
Yes, and the way I understood it by listening to Reggie Bush talk, which played at the Saints, that it's exactly the same setup how they run their offense. That the packages that they run, they're all pretty much the same consistency in a package-wise, but they run very many different plays out of that
It's kind of an odd
offense.
Coach, you know, he's not a coordinator. He's not really a position coach. And I also read this. He's in charge of wide receivers, but another guy does their fundamentals as far as wide receivers go.
Throwing the ball to them.
As far as the
footwork
design,
stuff.
footwork stuff, this other guy does. This guy played quarterback for Nebraska back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And but as far as the designing the plays and what routes, Brady does that. But this other guy does. Yeah, it's just an odd coaching situation, but it worked.
I mean, how does a guy just
He don't
come
call
in?
the plays. He's not really the wide receiver coach. He's the passing game technician.
How does a guy come in and just, because we know how they were last year,
Mm-hmm.
and these players were there last year, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got some numbers here on that.
Okay.
In just a second.
I mean, they're the same guys. They're running crisper routes.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting separation from the defenders.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of stuff you just learn or you can do because you're athletic, right? You're just you're one of those guys. You're just a freak athlete. You can do those things. It's amazing for Joe to be able to come, and then that happens.
I would have loved to have seen their practice.
Oh, I know.
I mean, the connection and the what do you call it? Continuity between the quarterback and receivers was ridiculous. Here's some numbers here, man. Last year, Brady threw for 2,800 yards. If you bring Brady in, he throws for 57. Okay. Justin Jefferson caught 54 passes
last year.
111 this year.
So hold on right there. So they double everything from last year.
Chase caught 23 last year, 84 this year.
Wow, triple.
Marshall and Moss doubled their stats. Hilaire doubled his rushing stats and doubled his receiving stats.
Just from a guy.
5 guys.
Changing the techniques.
Just
a polish.
Yeah.
Oh, they were just polished.
Just changed the offense some.
Well.
So don't say it can't be done. 30 years old, you know, he don't have the experience, obviously.
No.
Obviously he's a genius.
That's what I was fixing to say. Obviously, he's got a photographic memory. If he can go there and sit down with these papers and he just, at night, and sits down and just goes through his papers and watches film and breaks that offense down to be able to take it. And not only that, but as a teacher, you can respect this, how you take information and water it down enough for a college kid to understand it. Because I remember Dre Kirkpatrick coming from Gadsden, he had an interview, and he was like, well, what's the big difference from high school to Bama? He was like, well, the playbook is 5 times thicker.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, for Brady to be able to be that technician and to have those ideas from the New Orleans Saints, a professional football team.
And what was his time? What did he do there? Was he just an offensive assistant?
He was the assistant of the assistant to the office of vice president's assistant. I'm just being funny.
So he wasn't like a position coach.
No, the way I understood it, honestly, he was just
kind of went there to learn.
Yeah, running coffee. I mean, that's the way I understood it. That was between Reggie Bush and Shannon Sharp speaking.
I'm assuming he is a good play caller. We really don't know. I'm sure he had a hand in a lot of plays called.
Yeah, I'd assume
but we'll
so.
find out. You know, and he gets to work with Cam. You know, I
guess. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm wondering how that's going to work out. I ain't really heard nothing about Cam
I
staying.
don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what the deal is, but that ought to be an interesting marriage. You know, you got an offensive genius here who's your coordinator now. You got to be happy about that.
Well, Cam's going to have to learn how to throw the ball, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could throw the ball early in his career, and he threw for 2,000 yards, 2,000 yard rushing, had NFL Rookie of the Year, had all these stats, and then he kind of fell off. Of course, he did get hurt, but I think the play calling hurt Cam some. He didn't seem to fit what they were doing at Carolina. So, like you said, Todd, this guy tripled and doubled these kind of stats.
All 5 offensive, which I'm counting 6. You got their 4 receivers, Jefferson, Chase, Moss, and Marshall. They all doubled. Hilaire doubled rushing. Burrow doubled passing. So 6 players. And obviously they got the best offensive line in the country too. That probably didn't hurt.
Yeah, that always helps.
But, 6, you got, every time you go out there, you got to know, well, who's going to get all of our yards? Well, it's going to be these 2 backs, these 2 receivers. And that was their 6 guys they knew going in.
It seemed like
they've got to be responsible for our yards.
And that package, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I don't try to be, or I enjoy the game and we enjoy watching it. But that package, the way they run it, it seems to me, just being an old bumpkin that I am, that they disguise it well enough, and it's hard for defenses to look at it and check in and out, because you could see it
Well, nobody
sometimes.
stopped them all year.
Sometimes, like Joe would look at the sideline, 20 seconds left, get a play in, they would change it. He'd go to the line, bark out a different order, call something out, auto out of it, and then the linebacker for Clemson would look over.
Simmons.
He would get a play. He would go bark out something. And they were just, the coaches are working each other, so it was hard for them to try to get a vision of what LSU was doing, because they're playing this same set.
Right.
And you just couldn't really get a feel until the ball snapped. And is this guy going to run? Is he going to run a rub route? Is this guy going to run a little skinny? Is this guy going up running flag route? I don't. It was hard for defense to.
Well, their lowest offensive output of the year was Mississippi State, 436. I've heard people say Alabama stopped them. No, they didn't. Auburn didn't. They only scored 23 points against Auburn. They fumbled twice inside the 10. They had 510 yards, 550 against Alabama, 508 against Florida, 700 against Oklahoma, and then 630 against Clemson the other night. So, every big game they had, they gained over 500 yards. Georgia held them to 497. So, when you're rolling out there and you say, we held them to 450, you got a good offense.
Well,
we held them to 450.
Congratulations, Coach O, for putting together a good coaching crew, and we'll see how they fare next year.
And let me say one more thing about Burrow. If you can't grasp or get your mind around what he did this year, I'd heard somebody say that the best offense they'd saw in years was Tua Tagovailoa in Alabama last year.
Yeah.
All right, Burrow threw for 1,000 more yards than Tua did. Okay, and that was considered. Some people considered that's the greatest passing offense they'd seen. He threw for 600 more than Dan Marino did the year he was MVP in 1984.
Yeah.
So, 600 more than Dan Marino in one less game.
Right, and you could vouch in for say, well, Tua didn't play hardly any fourth quarters. Okay, so 10 fourth quarters is 2.5 games. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So could Tua have thrown for 1,000 in 2.5 games? Probably. Probably not.
There was games where Brady came out too.
Yeah. So either way, you cut it. Joe did a good job.
No, man, 60 touchdowns.
And how old is he now? He's
22 years.
I think he was turning. I thought I heard he's turning 24 this year.
Oh, okay, that's right. He spent some time at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So he is about 24.
And that
24.
is an aspect, maybe, if you want to compare him and Trevor. Trevor's young, 21.
Right.
He's just now legal drinking age.
Is he even that?
I know,
He's 20,
this year.
20. I don't even know if he can smoke.
Yeah, I think he turns 21 this year, like probably in the next coming months. So
This guy's played in 2 national championship games. He
got
can't even
one.
buy a cigarette.
No, and he's got 1 ring, and he lost 1. So it's hard to compare because the two are 21 and 24. I know don't seem like a lot, but Joe played at Ohio State some games, took snaps, played some games where Trevor hasn't. So what I'm getting to is I could only assume that Trevor's limit is going to be higher next year.
Right.
We could look for him to be better. He seems like a kid that works hard at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume during this offseason he'll get in there and go back.
Oh, he's a very good quarterback.
He's probably watched that game. He's probably watched the game 10 times.
Oh,
He's sick about the overthrows, short throws. He
had
missed some
tough
throws.
plays, yeah.
If they make those plays, Todd, we got a game. If he makes those third down plays, yes.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but if they'd won the national championship and passed cigars around, he couldn't have smoked one. He'd have got in trouble.
Well,
He's 20.
Something was funny about that. While they're in the locker room and LSU they're smoking cigars and they got in trouble for it.
Oh, did they?
On the same note there, OBJ.
Yeah. Slapped up the cop on the butt.
Yeah, and from what I heard, the cop was saying, y'all can't do that. And you know Odell, how he is. He's just kind of pat on the butt. Come on, man. They just won the title. Loosen up.
Right.
It was kind of being funny. But him
Yeah,
handing money to the players
Right.
on the field, that could be a problem. For the ones leaving, no. But if there's actual live footage of him handing those younger players that are coming back next year, they could be suspending some games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about him pulling the title from them. I've heard that on some media sites. You know, that some salty.
Who knows? They might not even kept the money.
Some salty.
I mean,
salty Clemson fans may have been a little.
I don't know. They could have thrown it down. Who knows? They could have given it back.
But
that's his. He did wrong there. I mean, as far as that.
But
goes.
that's expected from him. But what I don't like about it is,
I heard it was fake money.
No, it wasn't fake.
Oh,
Joe Burrow confirmed it was real.
Oh, okay.
But you put the light on you. Don't do that. These kids just won their first title in years and years.
He knows better than that.
But that's just kind of who he is, and that's what he's going to do.
12 years since they've won one. They've won 3 now in the last 18 years. So, they've, Alabama, Clemson's won 2. Ohio State, Bama's won 5.
I thought I had a number on here.
We're talking about since 2003.
What was the number of the new AP poll? Have you seen the new AP poll? The new AP poll.
No, sir.
Let's just take a look here. I had looked at it. Let's see, Tom. What we got here?
Well, jumping subjects a little bit.
Yeah.
Mr. McKinney, Alabama
Looks like
and Auburn, I think, will be very strong next year. I noticed, and this does tie in what we're
Okay.
talking about, a lot of players coming back for Alabama.
Well, LSU's going to stay 1, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You got Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, Georgia at 4, Oregon 5, Florida 6, Oklahoma at 7, Bama 8, Penn State 9. And
This was the final.
Yes, and Minnesota's 10.
10.
We kind of thought Minnesota would be 10 or 9. So they're actually top 10 coming back in next year.
More than likely, there'll be some changing. I don't see how you could keep LSU number 1. Who knows? Alabama's going to be tough now. Especially, I was surprised to hear that Harris is coming back.
Yeah, I was.
That was big.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I am too. I think they'll be very tough. I think he'll be the best running back in the country.
Yeah, and that may be the guy that we were talking about earlier that shows up for a Heisman that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It may be him.
It could be. And, of course, Auburn, we know what they bring back. They'll be tough.
Hey, what about Georgia?
Georgia, yeah, they'll be good. But they did lose from.
But hold on a minute. They got a new coach. Did you read about that?
I haven't read about them getting a new coach.
Georgia.
New offensive coordinator?
Yeah. Who was this guy?
I know Alabama didn't lose a lot of coaches this time.
Let's see. What was it? They were talking about it. I heard it on the talk radio on the sports. Let's see. James Coley, who served as co-offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at the University of Georgia in 18, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach of the Bulldogs in 19, is currently the team's assistant head coach. Georgia hires Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator.
Okay, so they did get rid
Todd
of
Monken, former NFL offensive coordinator who was served as the head coach at Southern Miss, was fired Friday to run the Bulldogs offense, the school had announced. He just said they were very excited to add him to the staff. Now, from the way I understood it, he's a air raid guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's why I wanted to bring that up. Since we're still on college football.
So we got Mike Leach at Mississippi State.
So if we're gonna have an air raid attack, come from he become the 3rd Georgia offensive play leader the mini season. Jim Chaney left after 2018 season, became a coordinator at Tennessee. Monken has a background in overseeing offenses to put up big passing yards.
And they're going to do this for Wake Forest quarterback who decided he's transferring to Georgia.
Who?
Wake Forest quarterback.
Okay.
He's decided who started last year. Now I'm gonna be honest, and I don't think nobody will stone me for this around here. I don't know his name, but
Gummit, you're supposed to know that.
he did. He transferred to Georgia and he's expected to start.
Okay, well maybe Monken might have called up. Hey, this is our guy, and maybe he fits to what Monken wants to do.
Well, is Swift coming back to Georgia?
I don't know.
I haven't heard.
I don't know about that.
I know that Georgia will be good, but I'm telling you now, and I'm not just being a homer here, but I see Alabama really making a push for it with a lot coming back defensively and offensively.
Yeah, they got some offensive linemen coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some guys that decided to stay, like Dylan Moses. Is Moses cleared? Is he good to go now? Is he staying?
Yes, that's the way I understood it. Yeah, his daddy and they had talked about it.
Okay.
Georgia
Sure.
DeAndre Swift clears up confusion regarding 20 draft. Heading to the NFL. That was as of.
I figured he was.
That was as of last week.
All right. So Swift's gone, which they've always got running backs. You can find running backs.
Well, maybe Todd with Monken down there as an offensive coordinator may not matter.
They may. I mean, they may be. You know, I'm expecting them to make a run at it at some point. They've done too good in recruiting. And, you know, they almost won it against Alabama 2 years ago. I mean, they were one play away.
Well, you see what happened when they changed offense up in Alabama, when they brought Jalen in.
Right. And then the next year, yes, obviously they would have gone to that semifinal had they held on in that game.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia wins one. I think Florida's obviously back.
I think I think Florida's going to be favored to win the East. Coming out
I would not
through the summer, and as we talk more,
what did they finish? 7th,
and learn more.
8th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to learn more, I think they'll definitely be in the mix.
Yeah, they look good. They look real good.
And you know, I don't like Trask. I can't help it. And I'm not a Florida hater, fans. I'm not.
I like Trask, but we can disagree on that.
He misses those
I
third
haven't watched him a
down.
lot, but when I have watched him, he's
Those
played
third
good.
down plays, man, he kills me. He was like Trevor the other night against LSU. He misses some, but they had a good ball game, and we're proud for the SEC. So
we're turning into the old Hawaii Conference and all that.
So the final score, LSU Clemson,
42-25.
42-25.
67 points total. I figured it'd be more than that.
Yeah, I had looks like Tennessee, and you had picked them to win. So hats off, Mr. Dean. I appreciate you.
How bad did I
forgot
say they was going? I think I said 37-28. So that's 2 points off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not close. I had it
Yeah.
a 9-point game.
Good pick to you.
17.
Yeah, Tori Chandler on our Matt and Todd show page won the prize.
No, did he?
Yeah, I seen him out
What we
town
got
the
him,
other
a
day.
banana peel or something.
I got
like
him
that?
$1.
$1?
Yeah, he wouldn't take it because he won 200 on the post picks.
He won the post
Yes,
picks.
he did.
I forgot to do that.
Oh God. Yeah, he won it. I think he said he missed a game or two.
Well, you better not miss any if you do them post picks. I'm going to tell you
I
that.
think he said he missed one or two.
Yeah, well, I'll get him some whether it's that roast beef, potted meat, or something.
Yeah, he'd probably go
That's
for
good
that.
stuff. Even
Yeah.
if you put mayonnaise on it.
He's got plenty of potato chips. So.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's the end of college football season. That was the review for LSU Clemson, and we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back and kick off in the NFL playoffs. Titans, Chiefs, Packers, 49ers. What we got and who's the keys to success for those guys? Looks like Derrick Henry's been on a real big run. We'll be right back, guys. Thank you for tuning in, WDKR.
You're listening to WDKR, internet-based community radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to WDKR. This is the Matt and Todd show. Got Diamond Dean over here, Big Matt. We are going to dig into the NFL playoffs a little here. Todd, looks like first we're going to hit up the 49ers and the Packers, which is a great NFC game. 49ers are favored by a touchdown. You know, these are two of the most successful teams in the NFL.
especially Green Bay over the long haul.
Yeah.
I mean,
And with McCartney leaving, and he's Dallas now,
Cowboys
so we're going
got
to see how that's going to work out. In Week 12, 49ers crushed the Packers, 37-8.
Bad. Where was that game at?
They were up 23-0 at the half. Rodgers got sacked like 5 times. He had 104 passing with 20 completions.
104?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I read that wrong.
I tell you what now.
But it was 23-0 at the half, 49ers.
Well, San Francisco's defense is just out of this world.
Yeah, Bosa, that guy's going to get his, most definitely.
I mean, it's just out of this world. And, you know, I don't know if it's one. Of course, they got Richard Sherman.
Right, I was going to say, Rich Sherman is definitely a part
Nick
of that
Bosa.
defense. Yeah.
Quan Alexander, native of Oxford down here, plays on that defense.
Right, yes.
But, you know, I don't know of a lot of standouts, but, man, they're awesome just as a group. And what's your thoughts on that? But you know Rodgers is a winner.
I'll give you my keys to drive this game. We're going to get in here and go through first, second gear pretty quick. We're going to speed shift. We ain't going to use clutch.
All right.
Packers keys to victory. Right. Yeah, it could be bad. To beat the number 1 seed on the road, Packers keys to victory. Of course, this game is in San Francisco.
That's a bad.
Aaron's going to have to be lights out. Okay, we do know he's reaching his age, and his competitive spirit is definitely not flickered. I don't think.
And we do know he has the potential to lead them.
Yes, Aaron Jones, running back. I'm assuming
he's awesome.
He's going to have to get over 100.
He has to have a good game
for him to have a good game, because you got to be able to run the ball to set the pass.
Right.
The 49ers did allow 124 rush yards a game, which they're 8th in the NFL in rushing. 15 winning seasons since 2000. So they're known to be winners. Green Bay, that is.
Right. 15 since 2000.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, McCarthy went 10-6. His average record there in 13 years was 10-6.
So we're going to say Jones is going to have to run the ball to give Aaron playmaking ability to run play action.
And that's a big if.
And I mean, their defense, for Green Bay to play defense, Garoppolo is a guy that's going to give you, he'll probably throw 2 picks in the game. I'm going to assume he'll throw 2 picks. But, man, this guy is so just lights out. He'll throw a pick, and like he just goes to the sideline and gets a drink of water like nothing's even happened. Which is
he don't make a big thing out of it.
No, which is a good, it's good.
He's got a short memory.
Which is, you have to be that way to be quarterback. 49ers keys to stay number 1. Let's get into that one. We're going to go third and fourth gear real quick here.
All right.
We're going to use clutch this time, though.
You're grinding it out.
We're going to have to get busy up front on defense. They do have, they got Cousins. They got him 6 times. Okay.
Second 6 times.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that game, poor Minnesota wasn't ever in that game.
No.
I watched it. I mean,
never. They're going to have to make tackles at the line. The 49ers are going to have to make those plays against Jones at the line of scrimmage. If they let him get out in space, he could definitely cause some trouble. But their X factor is a guy that had a torn Achilles in 2017, which is Richard Sherman. He's their X factor.
He's a future Hall of Famer, obviously.
They're going to have to stay on Devontae Adams. And they've won 5 of the last 7 versus the Packers. 3 of the 4 were post-season games. So
Adams, what I was going to say about him now, he was the dagger in the Seahawks game.
Yes.
Obviously, Rodgers throwing to him, but I mean his routes and his ability to
somebody's got to stay on him.
But they'll put Sherman on him, I'm sure.
Probably. I assume that. It seems like from a statistical advantage, you would probably pick the 49ers to win like a 40-21.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick it that big.
I don't know if that. They do have a good running game though. They use 3 different backs.
Yeah.
At Breida and Tevin Coleman used to play for the Hawks, and another guy, I can't even pronounce his name, Mostert. Yeah. Mostert, I don't know, but he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Well, I think they each had, like I looked at a stat box, they each had one had 58 and one would have 47 and one would have 38.
Yeah, they'll run all 3 of them.
Combining 100 yards. So I was saying earlier, Jones will need 100 yards. Maybe he gets 50 and the mustache guy gets 50.
Right. He could. I mean,
they mix it up well. That's because they got a good organizer of the offense, because isn't Shanahan's
excellent.
His daddy is around, still with the program.
Right.
And I hear that he hangs around in film study, and I'm sure his brain.
But she was considered, like we're talking about Joe Brady and Kyle Shanahan's considered, they're considered offensive geniuses.
Right, and I'm assuming I've heard that he's in film rooms helping them break down stuff, and his knowledge of the game is definitely would be welcomed. I'm sure they're not running him out of film.
No. Oh, Mike, you got to go. No, you're not on the staff here. We can't have this.
You can't be around here.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry. No. Yeah, it's like if Nick Saban moved to Cedar Bluff and he has to help with your rec league football team. I mean, you don't tell him no. I got this, Nick.
So,
you know,
Aaron's going to have to be lights out. Garoppolo's going to have to throw 4 picks. Sherman's going to have to play a good game against Devontae. Third downs are going to be crucial, but the Green Bay's going to have to run the ball. Score-wise, I'm going to go with 49ers. I was a big fan of theirs as a kid, which I like the Packers too, but I'm going to pick 49ers 31-24.
All right, and I'm picking them 27-20, which is a touchdown, but I don't think it'll. I know that sounds close, but I don't think that it'll be one of them 27-20 deals where Green Bay's on the 7-yard line at the end of the ball game and they have to stop them.
I agree.
I just think it'll be. I don't know. I just do not see any way. I'll be very shocked if the 49ers don't win this ball game.
Yeah, with the stats and you know,
playing at home, they got to stop the run.
All we can go by is what we've seen from previous, and it seems to be that the 49ers just have their number.
Which Rodgers is a killer. You know, he's a killer.
Yeah.
And obviously on paper, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
And speaking of, yes, that's true. Speaking of killers, and somebody having their number 22 for the Titans. We're going to ease in on here the Titans KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken Chiefs game. This game's going to be out there. Titans are going to travel. The Titans did beat them the last time they played, 35-32. However, for Kansas City fans, yes, we knew that Mahomes was returning. That was his first game back from a knee injury. Todd, what are you thinking about Derrick Henry? You know, in the show that while you were out on Paris Island on Hog Island taking a vacation, he was on Hog Island.
On Strap Island.
He had to go out there and go camping, and he had straps, so they quarantined him from the
quarantined
town.
Me up there. I went up there and killed me a hog and cooked it.
So while he was out there, did you get to see anything about on the Side Note show I had done? And I had actually picked that Tuesday for Side Notes for Derrick Henry. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Well, I mean, if he keeps playing like he does, he's already the best back in the league. You know, obviously, to maintain those type of numbers, he will be in the Hall of Fame if he can maintain these numbers he'll have to do it for a few years, though. You know, you think back to some of the greats, Eric Dickerson, Walter Payton, those guys had 6 or 7 seasons like Derrick Henry.
And some people are comparing him to Eric Dickerson. So
he's a tough load.
180 plus yards, 3 straight games.
3 straight games.
With 30 carries. And
one against the Ravens. There.
Yes. So, looks like Kansas City had 530 total yards, 28 first downs. They had 6 possessions that ended with field goals. They even had 1 blocked, it looked like.
So they probably should have technically won the game.
It looks like the Titans had got put out by the Chiefs in 17. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs put the Titans out, looks like.
Well, you know, I think...
that was the year Derrick Henry, wasn't he Russian running back rookie of the year, I think, that year?
Derrick Henry's had 2,000. He led the league this year. He led the league. Now, what happened was he didn't start his rookie year, but he come on towards the end of the year and ended up being their main man. And then last year in the playoffs, he had 160 yards.
Yeah,
his playoff average is ridiculous. It's something like 175 yards a game in the playoffs. That's what he averaged.
They'd switched QBs. Okay, all right, going into the Titans there, Mariota seemed like they just was not doing good at all, and they just pulled him, man. They put Tannehill in here.
Right.
He just seems like he gets the job done when need be. Is he the greatest quarterback in the NFL? By some numbers, Todd, he is. He is. By stats-wise, like some third down conversions, his QBR percentages.
You never would have thought nobody hits him in the fantasy draft.
No, but his numbers are good because he may be 10 for 14 on the night.
I mean, if we go over to the fantasy draft this summer and I take Ryan Tannehill, those guys are going to laugh at me.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But if you only
Steve Tannehill used to play at Carolina. You remember him, long hair?
Yes.
Yeah, played a long time ago. Had real long hair, like Lawrence.
I don't see. I mean, if you just throw 7 passes and you complete 7, you're 100%.
Well, he's doing what he has to do. He's managing the game. But
their defense has played good.
Their defense is awesome.
And we'll go on this with the Titans' keys to win. We're going to crank that motor up and drive it down. They're definitely going to have to get after my homeboy. They're going to have to get after him. They're going to have to put some pressure on him because he's kind of like Joe, man. He'll roll out of that pocket, bam, he'll throw something down the field. They hit you for a 30-yard strike.
Garoppolo.
No, for the Titans.
I'm sorry, Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill. They're gonna, for them to win, the Titans defense is going to have to get after my homeboy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to stay because, like I said, he rolls out of the pocket. Todd, he throws the ball down the field.
Yeah, Mahomes. I'm sorry.
Now he's going to have to find some holes to throw.
I'm thinking about Garoppolo. I'm thinking about the wrong game.
Oh, the 49ers.
Yeah, you're talking about Mahomes. Yes.
But he'll definitely find some holes to throw in zone coverages. Now Tannehill, he can run versus man coverage a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he can throw down a little bit. He's not going to rush big yards. The Titans don't blitz a lot. Todd, looks like they're only to blitz 19% of the time.
So they're just playing straight up defense.
19% of the time they blitz.
Now, and Sean Evans is their middle linebacker.
Well, what do you think about, they only blitz 19% of the time. That's not a lot.
But they're very good.
Well, they're going to have to mix match their defensive schemes to keep Mahomes guessing. Because Titans, this is a Cinderella playoff run for them. 2002 was the last time the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something good for them to try to do. I'm pulling for them. I hope Henry has a great game.
I'll say this, I think you'll agree. Kansas City has. They're decent on defense. They're not terrible. They got Tyrann Mathieu on defense, and. Remember him, LSU great, Honey Badger.
Oh, sure.
And he plays on their defense, but obviously he's not the only one. But, they're not a great defense, but they're not a terrible defense. But obviously, you know what their game plan is, and it is to load that box and stop Henry and make Ryan Tannehill beat them, I would think.
Well, for the keys for the Chiefs, we can talk about that. Is his hamstring good? We're talking about some X factors in the game. We're talking about their tight ends. The X factor for the Chiefs, he's had 10 catches for 134 yards he had against the Texans. The Khalif.
Kelsey.
Yes, Kelsey.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey. He's a stud.
Right.
He's probably the best tight end in the league. Well, besides San Francisco's.
Yes. Is he good enough to play? So if you're looking for the Super Bowl appearance, it could be the first one in 50 years, which could be the Packers and the Chiefs who played in the first Super Bowl. Are they setting that up? Is this game already laid out there? I don't know.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs and the 49ers. That'll be a great matchup.
Well, they were down 24-0, Todd, versus the Texans.
And 151-31.
In 3 minutes and 24 seconds, they were back on top. They had a 51-7 run.
51-7.
With the final score being 51-31. Come on. If you're the Texans, you've got to be sick about that.
Oh, my gosh. You wouldn't be as sick about it as if you got beat 51-31. But to be up 24-0, that would be awful.
Well, think of this. The Chiefs, if they're going to focus on Henry, that's going to give Tannehill some downfield shots, yes?
And that's what I think they would do.
You can't just not cover Derrick Henry. And he even throw the touchdown in one, the last
Yeah. They're going to load up and try to stop him. I guarantee you.
If you can make him at the line and get under his feet and cause him to move his feet, he can be stumbly and get off course, and you can make a tackle on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when he gets out in the field, man, what safety wants to tackle him?
Well, I wouldn't want to. He's a load. Once he gets his going and he gets better, he's just like he was at Alabama. He gets better as the game goes on. You're not gonna go out there in the first quarter and look at Derrick Henry and go, my gosh, he's unbelievable. But you come that third and fourth quarter, and he's ripping everybody.
Well, Eric Dickerson said he didn't feel comfortable in the game till he had about 20 or 25 carries. He said, I'm not even feeling it yet till I get about 20 or 25. And I think Derrick Henry's the same way. He's like a bear that runs like a deer.
Right.
It's amazing to watch him just literally punch people and just knock them off their track.
He's got a stiff arm.
He does.
You could deer hunt with that stiff arm.
I agree.
It's... And that's, you don't think of that. These are grown men. They have a lot of pride. They're like, man, I don't know if I want to run up on this dude. I don't want to get stiff-armed and him embarrass me.
I think it's a little deceiving how he looks on TV, how he runs. Sharp is 6'3"-ish, Shannon Sharp, and 250, 240-ish. Mm-hmm. And he said he met him at some awards thing they did last year. And he said, I'm swear to you, he's bigger than me. Tennis shoes to tennis shoes. This man is a good inch or so taller. I'm right under his brow, and he outweighs me by 20 pounds. So Shannon seems to think Derek is 6'4", 260.
Well, I'm going to say something here, Matt, and I don't mean that, but we shouldn't be shocked about Derrick Henry's success. I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy. He rushed for 4,200 yards his senior year in Florida.
Yeah.
It's not like he's playing, and no knock against Wyoming. I mean, it's not like he's playing high school ball out in Idaho.
No.
He's playing in Florida.
Where some of the best talent that comes out of the nation comes out of there. Yeah.
Or Idaho or Wyoming. That's not where he played. He rushed for 40. He rushed for 4,200 yards in 3A in Florida.
Well, if the Chiefs can key on him and keep him under 100 yards and make Tannehill throw the ball down the field, Chiefs play good coverage, you know, they can win this game. But the Titans, for them to win, Tannehill's going to have to. I think Tannehill's going to have to run a little.
He's going to have to.
He's going to have to run a little. I think he's going to have to break out of some little pockets of pressure. He's going to have to get upfield, get them 4, 5, 6 yards, and those holes in that zone coverage, he's going to have to recognize where people are at, where people are going to be. So I think it's going to be a good game, Todd. For a game pick score, I'm going to go. Don't shoot me, because I just built up the Titans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you can build them up, but that don't mean they're going to win.
I hope they win.
But I would like to see it.
I'm putting 36-30 Kansas City, just because of everybody's back and they're healthy. And it's that
Tyreek Hill's back. They got Kelsey, obviously, Mahomes. I got 35-24 Kansas City. A lot of that's to do with home field, and I think they're just going to really – their game plan, I think, right now, I think their defensive players got to – you know how you used to have a picture of Farrah Fawcett in your bedroom?
Right.
Well, I don't know if you did, but guys did.
Yeah, well, I had a picture of Bert and Ernie in my room.
Bert and Ernie.
I'm just kidding.
Well, Bert and Ernie. But these guys got Derrick Henry's picture. I mean, they're going to be ready. Or they're going to at least make an attempt at it. I'll be shocked if he has 180 yards. Shocked.
I'm going to go with Kansas City, but in my heart of hearts, I'm going to be pulling for the Titans and Derrick Henry.
But now I will say one thing. If you're right and Tannehill can make some big throws downfield, he might have his 180. Because then they got to loosen up, and they obviously can't put all their – they're going to make Tannehill do something.
Yeah.
He knows this.
I agree. Well, guys, that's kind of it for the regular show. We're going to come back and do a few minutes of side notes. Got a question or two here to kick around. See what y'all think about it. Me and Todd's going to discuss a few things on LSU team. Was they really the greatest? How about these targeting calls? Does it change the game of football? And what about these guys leaving? Luke Kuechly's retired. 28 years old.
I just think you don't want to fool with no more concussions. So many guys getting this ALS and dying.
I got a little something here on Tua. Also, a little info that I picked out of. I got some undercover down there in Alabama. So we're going to talk about that. We'll be right back. Thank you again for tuning in to WDKR. This is the Matt and Todd Show. Big Matt, Diamond Dean. Thank you guys for listening in. Hope y'all having a great evening. Stay tuned for side notes. Y'all hang in there with us. All right, hang on.
You're listening to WDKR, internet-based community radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
Welcome back to Cherokee County. Big Matt, Diamond Dean sitting across from me. We got our shoes off and our hair let down again. We got our shirts unbuttoned. We're getting ready to put getting ready to put it on the grill. All right. Side notes today. Todd's went over already kind of about this LSU team, one of the best teams ever. We talked about some of the Nebraska teams, the Texas teams. I'd bring up the Alabama team that beat Notre Dame that year. I think they were pretty awesome. That was one of an awesome football team. So basically, we kind of went over that, but we put that out there for you guys to comment on our Facebook page. Go on there to Matt and Todd Show and tell us what you think. Is this the greatest team that you've seen? You think it's the best? We've went over the game. We've cut it down every.
That's your opinion. Now we're not telling you. We're not even making saying if we think it is.
No.
What do you think?
Right, yeah, what do you think about that? Go on our Facebook page and comment. Next question, we'll get on to that, is these targeting calls, have they changed the game? I'm going to say they have, and it's put out there to comfort a receiver coming across the middle, catching a ball. He's going to get hit, he's going to get his head knocked off, and we've done that to protect the kids in the game. That is very important. But I think it needs some reform as to which in they're throwing kids out. That's my point.
I don't like that.
I
personally don't like the tossing. Hey, you're out of here. I didn't even mean to do it.
If it looks intentional and just a malicious type of hit where he just puts his head down, and he just drives the guy right in the face, okay, and you can tell. But like the hit at the Clemson LSU game of the night, he put his head down. The receiver's, he's kind of squatting, he's coming down on his butt, sort of, and he throws his arms and he tackles the way that we teach them to tackle.
Right.
And they throw him out of the game. And it does make a difference in the game.
I just don't agree with the throwing out. You get thrown out in basketball for cussing a ref, slamming a ball down. You don't get thrown out because you foul somebody too hard accidentally.
Yeah.
Or you charged, and you charged him too hard. It's the only in the major three sports in this country, which is baseball, football, and basketball, and I guess you can throw cornhole in there too. But you don't. It's the only thing that you don't get thrown out for that's not intentional.
Yeah.
Everything else you get thrown out in baseball for throwing at a batter.
So guys, we're not saying they should take the targeting call away. We're just saying please go back and look at it. Leave it up. Yeah, leave it up to the ref looking at the play live to say that don't look that. Let them make the call and judgment on the field. Let the refs be refs. Stop making everything so many replays. It has slowed the game down. And as now you can see with Kansas City, their top offense, chance to win the Super Bowl, defensive teams, LSU not so good, winning national championships. The calls have hurt the game. It seems like it has really.
He's saying
it's changed it.
It's changed the posture of the defense.
It has.
They're not as mean.
They can't be. So why are these players not making plays? They can't. Because you see those Bama players, I would get on them for grabbing a player and throwing them down or something. Why are they tackling them high? Because if they throw their head down and tackle low, if the running back dunks his head, they hit head to head, guess what? You're out of the game.
Right.
And then I can't show my stats for my NFL time. Maybe if there's scouts there watching me, I'm through out of the game. So they need to go back and look at it.
It's a slippery slope.
They need to reform that at some point.
I do agree with that. I don't know about that.
Which leads into this question. Now, this is not really a question, just a statement. What do you guys think about Luke Kuechly retiring? He's 28 years old, had 1,000-plus tackles, 2013 Defensive Player of the Year. He missed 7 games, though, because of concussions. Andrew Luck went out, too. He's retired. So, with what we just talked about, the targeting calls, yes, it is important. I'm not taking away from the kids'
We're not saying
safety.
You shouldn't be called for targeting.
No. And we do need to teach the kids to keep their heads up and tackle correctly, and I'm sure they've been taught that since they were little kids. But I'm going to miss this guy, man. This guy's a playmaker.
Oh, he was a stud.
Over 1,000 tackles.
Yeah, 7 years? 8?
Yeah.
So you figure he averaged 8-10 tackles a game. I tell you, I think some of this, Matt, is just some of the problems these guys are having mentally later on in life.
Well,
I mean, you got a lot of them also getting this ALS, which Lou Gehrig's disease.
Why didn't players of old, like, I'm going to bring up my guy, Ronnie Lott, because he was one of my favorites. Or, we could use Junior Seau, which took his own life.
He took his own life.
Why did those players, they're Iron Man, they continue to play the game that they love no matter what? Kuechly's just being a little girl. Well, let me tell you something, guys. I think players are smarter now. I think there's more information out there now. And number one, probably they make a lot more money now.
Right.
Because you go back and look at some salaries of these guys, they were making $2, $3, $4 million a year. Man, he's going to walk out with, I think, $20 million.
Right.
Okay? So you can then have a career in something else. Kuechly could go on to invest in, he could sell boats for a living. He can go into a totally different other career, have a safe career because of the money that he made. So with more smartness of the game, and they're going to get better training. But mostly, Todd, I think these guys are coming out because they got more money, and they can say, you know what, I'm tired of getting hit in the head, and I don't want to be crazy later on and look like poor Earl Campbell. Bless his heart. The cat was a fighter, a big-time football player from Texas, and look at him now. He's suffering from some of that
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
of the hits.
Well, a lot of guys do, and I don't. But I will say this: you know it going in. You know it going in.
And yeah,
I mean, if I start base jumping tomorrow off the tower here in Cedar Bluff, and then I know that there's a good chance that parachute might not open,
and Kuechly, you could tell
and I'll die.
that
So
he knew,
they know it.
and he knew going in. That's why he's emotional about it, because he knows he's leaving a game that he loves so much. So good luck to him, and I'm sure he's going to do great
Well,
things.
that's the only thing I agree with, man. I don't agree that it's all the league's fault and all that, because these guys know this is a vicious game.
He's smart. He's a smart young man. I mean,
Yes.
so I'm sure he's going to do fine.
And the info's out there now. Hey, there's a good chance you take too many hits. You may have some serious brain trouble when you're older. You may get Lou Gehrig's disease. These guys know this.
Well, you're running in one direction, and like Bo Jackson said, you're running one way, and then your body takes this hit where your brain continues to move forward. And when that brain bounces around in there, they asked Bo Jackson, it was on this topic, sort of, what is your thing with this? How would you advise kids on playing football or baseball? He said, I'm going to advise my kids to play baseball. Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
So,
great football player.
well, here's the last little tidbit information we got down here from Tuscaloosa. Tua will not be working out February 25th for the NFL. However, he's going to wait for a Bama Pro Day in March. So we're going to see how that turns out for Tua Tagovailoa.
We wish him the best. He was a good one.
He's a good player, and going to miss him next year, but we're going to bring some guys back. And, guys, we're going to sign out here for Side Notes and Matt and Todd Show for today. Thank you all for tuning in. We're glad y'all listening in. Our audience is growing. We got some new things coming to the radio station.
And we're enjoying it.
Really are. Thank you again for tuning in, WDKR. Go on our Facebook page. Talk about some of these side note things here, and come back next week, and we'll talk more about some playoff games, how they turned out, and we'll get off to some other side note stuff. And y'all have a great week. Be blessed, and
It's basketball time too, man. We probably got to start getting into some basketball pretty soon. We know there's not a ton of college basketball fans around here, but we're going to have to touch on it because it's getting that time.
NBA playoff stuff's going to be getting ready soon. I think LeBron and Harden play Saturday night, or they're going to play. They got a game coming, so that's going to be interesting to see how the Lakers are going to pan out. They're still winning right now. They lost the game the other night, but anyway, that's some things going on next week. We're going to get out of here and go put our feet up for a while and enjoy the day.
Shirts off.
I'm going to put mine back on. I'm going to go. Thank you, guys. God bless everybody. We love y'all. Thank you for tuning in, WDKR.